after 10 years of working in the underworld, I used my accumulated merit to get a second chance at life, with a bonus gift. Any lie my biased parents told would instantly become true. At the dinner table, my adoptive mother gave the only chicken drumstick to my brother. Boys get stupid if they don't eat meat. A girl can just have some bread and pickles. And just like that, my brother suffered severe brain damage. When I was 18, they spread vicious rumors about me to scrape together money for my brother's wedding. My adoptive father swore an oath to the whole village. I saw old man Pete drag my daughter into that cornfield with my own 2 eyes. She's my own daughter. I'd know her even if I were blind. The next second, his eyes rolled back in his head, and he went completely blind. Later, when the ultra-wealthy Walton family came to claim me as their long-lost daughter, my adoptive mother pulled my real mother aside, hesitating. Just be careful not to lie in front of this girl. My mother had no idea what she meant. Until, back at the Walton estate, my mother wrapped her arm around the weeping fake heiress and smiled at me. Haley has always been delicate. Let's just let her keep the sunny room. My father immediately nodded, his eyes filled with pity as he looked at the fragile Haley. Haley was raised in the lap of luxury and has a weak constitution. She needs a lot of sun. The 3rd floor suite with the rooftop terrace should stay hers. You can take the room on the 2nd floor. I looked at Haley, rosy-cheeked with flawless skin. Where were the signs of this supposed weakness? In contrast, years of malnutrition had left my hair as dry as straw and my skin sallow and pale. I tilted my head, confused. What about her is weak? My mother was taken aback by my question and fumbled for an answer. Well, Haley. Haley's eyes immediately reddened, and she leaned weakly against my mother. Mom, does my sister hate me? I can give her the room. It's okay. I should be the one to leave anyway. Yes, you should just let me go. Wiping her tears, Haley made a show of heading for the door. Haley, don't be ridiculous. My mother quickly pulled her into a comforting hug, then turned to me with a stern expression. Zoe, we're not playing favorites. Haley's health truly is fragile. We have to take good care of her. Just then, my older brother, who had been sizing me up with a critical eye, cut in impatiently. Why are you asking so many questions? You may be related to me by blood, but Haley is the only sister I'll ever acknowledge. Now that you're back, you're the older sister, and you need to learn to give way to her. I sneered internally. In my last life, I was tormented by those heartless adoptive parents. I did the hardest labor, ate the worst food, and finally froze to death on the street one winter when I was 15. I used to wonder why. I thought it was just because my parents didn't love me. Turns out, it was because I wasn't even theirs. But looking at this now, even if I had lived long enough to be found by my real family, my life wouldn't have been much better. Still, since the underworld gave me a second chance, and a little bonus gift, this time I don't give a damn about family ties. Anyone who owes me is going to pay. I asked again, my voice soft. Really? Is she really that weak? The system would be the judge of whether Haley was truly fragile or not. I was very much looking forward to using my lie detector system for the first time in the Walton house. My father waved his hand impatiently. His voice was low and gravelly. That's enough. Don't be so difficult. You think we'd lie to you? My mother nodded anxiously. Yes, Haley's frailty is a fact. The doctor said if we don't take perfect care of her, she could collapse and start coughing up blood. She hadn't even finished her sentence. Gack. Haley, nestled in my mother's arms, suddenly convulsed. A spray of bright red blood erupted from her mouth. The living room fell dead silent. Haley went limp and collapsed, her face turning deathly pale before our very eyes. Haley. Sis. The 3 of them swarmed around her in a panic, and the scene descended into chaos. I stood right where I was, a silent smile spreading across my lips. See? Lies. They have a way of coming true. The family rushed Haley to the hospital. The moment they left, I had the housekeeper prepare the sunny, 3rd floor suite, and I moved right in. A few peaceful days went by. That weekend, Haley invited me to go shopping. As we were about to get in the car to head home, she suddenly clutched her stomach, claiming she felt sick. She told me to wait while she and the driver went to a nearby pharmacy. The second she was gone, a few thugs with bleached hair closed in on me, rubbing their hands together with greasy smiles. I laughed coldly to myself. Haley, Haley, Haley. You could have chosen the high road, but you just had to take a shortcut to hell. I'll let you have a taste of your own medicine. I cracked my knuckles, raised my fists, and made short work of them. In moments, the thugs were all on the ground. As soon as I got home, I put on a show sobbing, "Mom, Dad, some thugs just tried to assault me. If I didn't know a little self-defense, my reputation would be ruined. I'm calling the cops to have them arrested." Just as the words left my mouth, Haley's urgent voice came from the doorway. "Don't call the police." Seeing me completely unharmed, a flash of hatred crossed her eyes before she continued, "Sister, we don't know the full story yet. Calling the police would be bad for our family's reputation." My father's brow furrowed. "Haley's right. This isn't a game. You don't just call the cops." My brother looked me up and down, his disdain unconcealed. "Zoe, take a look in the mirror. You're so ugly. What kind of thug would be blind enough to go after you?" My mother paused, then looked at me. Maybe it was just a misunderstanding? I looked resolute. It was definitely not a misunderstanding. I want justice. Why else would they come straight for me? I was standing right next to Haley's car. Then, my eyes darted over to Haley. If they weren't after me, then maybe. My brother immediately jumped in. "That car is usually for Haley. They must have seen you standing there and thought you were her. Who else would willingly get near an ugly thing like you? And you want to call the cops? You think the police station is your personal playground? Wasting police resources over nothing." My mother, holding Haley, nodded in agreement. "Yes, that must be it. It was clearly a misunderstanding. Let's not blow this out of proportion." I immediately protested. "No way. What if they really were after me?" My father waved his hand dismissively. "That's enough, Zoe. Stop making trouble for us. Isn't it obvious? Those thugs were definitely after Haley. You were just unlucky. Consider it taking a bullet for your sister." Suppressing my glee, I asked again, "Mom, you think so too?" My mother said with certainty, "Yes, those thugs must have been targeting Haley. Since you weren't hurt, and the family's reputation is at stake, it's best to let it go." I drew out my words, my tone shifting completely. "Oh, so the thugs were after Haley." Whistling a cheerful tune, I turned and went upstairs, leaving the bewildered Waltons staring after me. That evening, Haley was all dolled up. "Mom, Dad, Brandon, I have a party tonight, so I won't be home for dinner." My mother took Haley's hands and spun her around, her eyes full of adoration. "My daughter is so beautiful. You're going to break so many hearts tonight." From the second floor, I watched the happy family scene. How nice. I just wondered if they'd still be smiling after tonight. At dinner, I was in an unusually good mood and ate 3 whole bowls of rice. I was about to head out for a walk to digest when I heard my father's furious roar from the living room. His voice was trembling. "What?" "Haley. Haley was attacked by thugs." "Where did it happen?" "When?" I turned just in time to see my father, pale as a ghost, clutching the phone. My mother's eyes had already rolled back, and she had fainted on the sofa. The Waltons once again scrambled to the hospital. This time, I followed along at a leisurely pace. In the hospital room, Haley's face was wrapped in bandages. The visible skin was a mess of black and blue. There wasn't a single unbruised spot. Her eyes were empty, devoid of life. My mother held her, crying so hard she was on the verge of fainting. My father's face was grim as he barked into the phone, ordering his men to find those thugs and take care of them at any cost. I leaned against the doorframe and spoke coolly. Well, don't tell me these are the same guys who almost mistakenly attacked me? They sure work fast. Found their real target already, huh?" My brother, his eyes blazing with fury, screamed at me, "Zoe, have you no soul? Haley is in this state, and you're making sarcastic remarks." Haley's head snapped toward me, her eyes filled with a venomous hatred that bored right through me. Looking at Haley's pitiful state on the bed, my father took a deep breath. "Haley has been through a terrible ordeal. We have to make it up to her. So I'll be transferring 10% of my shares in Walton Corp. to her name. It'll be a comfort and a guarantee for her future." My mother and brother showed no surprise, nodding in complete agreement. I let out a soft laugh. I was just wondering how I was going to get my hands on the Walton family's billion-dollar fortune. And here was my biased father, serving it up on a silver platter. I feigned grievance. "Mom, Dad, are you forgetting something? Your real daughter comes home, and you still haven't given me anything to make up for my lost years." My brother pointed a finger at me, enraged. "Zoe, don't push your luck. Do you have to snatch everything that's Haley's?" My parents' expressions soured. I wiped away a non-existent tear. So that's how it is. I suffered for 18 years, living a miserable life on the outside. I thought coming home would mean I'd finally be loved by my parents. But it turns out I'm less important than an adopted daughter. Just as my mother's expression began to soften, Haley, not to be outdone, burst into tears. Mom, Dad, I think my sister is right. I'm just your adopted daughter. I don't deserve these shares. You should give the shares to my sister. As soon as I'm better, I'll move out of the house and stop taking up her space. Her crocodile tears worked like a charm, breaking my parents' hearts. My father's brow furrowed, and he shot me a look of deep disapproval. Zoe, look what you've driven Haley to. I've told you before, you are our daughter, but so is Haley. It's just 10% of the shares. Why must you fight over everything? Can't you just let her have it? My mother was about to scold me when she overheard a few nurses whispering nearby. So it's one of those real versus fake heiress situations. The real one is so pitiful. Suffered for 18 years and she's still less important than the fake. And the parents are clueless. The fake one has been usurping her place for years. They don't kick her out, and they don't even think to compensate the real daughter. Hearing this, the family looked embarrassed. My mother's attitude changed in a flash. She took my hand to comfort me. Zoe, Mom and Dad know you suffered out there. But Haley was just attacked, and we have to compensate her. Don't worry. We will never favor one of you over the other. I nodded. Oh, so not favoring means I get 10% too? My brother instantly pointed at me, fuming. Zoe, have you no shame? Fighting over the inheritance at a time like this. You're just a hick from the countryside. How can you compare to Haley? 10%? You think you're worthy? The nurses shot my brother looks of contempt. What kind of brother is that? Defending a fake heiress over his own sister. Is he brain dead? Just as my brother was about to retort, my father stopped him. My father, who cared deeply about appearances, looked mortified. He cleared his throat and said to me, Zoe, you are our biological daughter. Rest assured, we will never be biased. You're still young and lack experience. Shares are not a toy. You are my daughter. Naturally, half of the company is yours. The words were grand, but they were just an empty promise. But that was exactly what I was waiting for. I blinked my big eyes and looked at my mother. Mom, is what Dad said true? Do I really get half of the company? Mindful of the nurses' gazes, my mom nodded repeatedly. Of course. Why would we lie to you? I carried you for 10 months. Of course, half of the company belongs to you. I smiled, satisfied, and turned to leave the room. Thanks, Mom and Dad. Behind me, I heard my brother sneer, idiot. I raised an eyebrow. You'll soon find out who the real idiot is. The day Haley was discharged from the hospital, my father took a call and his face went white. No. Impossible. How could this happen? Just moments before, through a series of untraceable but completely legal and compliant stock operations, the 50% of shares held in his name, including those he held by proxy, had all been instantaneously transferred to my name. The paperwork was complete, effective immediately. Just like that, I became the absolute majority shareholder of Walton Corp, holding 50% of the stock and calling all the shots. In the living room, the veins on my father's forehead bulged as he roared in a low, furious voice. Impossible. This has to be a clerical error. Zoe, you're coming with me to the office right now to transfer the shares back. I smiled calmly. And why would I do that? My brother stepped forward, yelling, why? Are those your shares to keep? That belongs to the Walton family. Transfer them back now, and maybe we'll let you keep eating at our table. I looked up at him. You'd better get a clear look at the situation. Right now, you should be begging me to let you eat at my table. I'd advise you not to provoke me. With the 50% I hold, I can call a board meeting and have your entire family kicked to the curb on the spot. Intimidated by my presence, their faces turned ashen, but they didn't dare say another word. Now that I held the power in the company, the next step was obviously to kick that scheming, two-faced Haley out of the Walton house. The next day my father, still not giving up, came to find me. Zoe, you can't just hold 50% of the shares by yourself. Logically, it should be split evenly among the three of you kids. No matter what, you have to give some to your brother and Haley. I nodded. You're right. My brother and I are your biological children. The shares should be split between us. But Haley? She's just an adopted daughter. 10% is more than enough for her. Then I added casually, if Haley were also your biological child, the three of us could split it evenly. What a shame she's not. My father started to speak, but then seemed to think of something. He gave a weak, awkward laugh and got up to leave. Watching his retreating back, a smile played on my lips. The fish has taken the bait. A week later, Walton Corp. held an emergency shareholders meeting. My father stood at the head of the table, cleared his throat, and announced, "Everyone, there is a family matter I must clarify today. The recent change in share ownership was in fact a misunderstanding. Zoe, at this point, Dad has to tell you the truth. The fact is, Haley is your biological sister. I was afraid you'd be hurt when you first came back, so I never dared to tell you." A murmur went through the room. I sat in the shareholder section and applauded softly. Brilliant. Seeing my placid reaction, my father quickly added, "Since all three of you are my biological children, the shares should be divided evenly. You need to give up a portion, right? If you don't believe me, I have a DNA test report right here from an authoritative lab." I didn't take the report. Instead, I asked with a solemn expression, "Dad, are you certain Haley is your biological daughter?" Without a hint of hesitation, my father puffed out his chest and declared, "I am certain. Haley is my biological daughter, Robert Walton's daughter." Suppressing a wave of elation, I said, "That's wonderful. But to be fair, I demand a new DNA test be performed." "Nonsense." My brother immediately objected. A flicker of panic crossed my parents' and Haley's faces. I raised an eyebrow. "What's wrong?" "Scared. If it's true, what's there to be afraid of?" The other shareholders looked at their reactions with suspicion. My father, caught between a rock and a hard place, had no choice but to grit his teeth and agree. Soon the results were ready. In front of all the shareholders, the sealed report was opened. My father clenched his fists. My brother stood beside him, looking guilty. Haley hid behind my mother, not daring to look up. Then the authoritative voice of the lab director rang out. "It is confirmed that Robert Walton and Haley share a biological father-daughter relationship." Hearing this, the Walton family first froze, then exchanged shocked glances. They muttered in disbelief, "How is this possible?" While they were still stunned, I took another sealed envelope from the director's hand. So Dad really wasn't lying. Haley really is my sister. My father, though confused, breathed a sigh of relief. "See, I told you I wouldn't lie. Haley is my biological daughter." My mother snatched the report. When she saw the final line confirming the paternal link, she swayed and was about to demand an explanation. But I smiled and held up the other document. "Don't be so hasty. There's another DNA test for Haley right here." "Another one?" Everyone looked puzzled, their brows furrowing. I tore open the envelope, held up the final page, and showed it to everyone. When they saw the conclusion on that report, the color drained from the Waltons' faces, and their pupils constricted. The entire conference room fell into a dead silence. My father shot to his feet, his face completely bloodless. This is impossible." My mother grabbed the report. It was the maternity test result for her and Haley. She began to tremble, then violently threw the report in my father's face. "Robert Walton, you explain this to me right now. So Haley is your spawn but not my daughter. Then who is her mother?" My father waved his hands frantically. "No, that's not it, honey, listen to me, this has to be a fake. You know Haley was adopted. How could she be mine? This report must be forged." I watched their dramatic performance with a calm expression. "Dad, you just told all the shareholders that Haley was your biological daughter. What, changing your story now?" My brother, holding the other report, was shaking. "How could this be? How could Haley be Dad's illegitimate daughter?" I smirked at him. "Why not? Didn't you hear Dad just now? He said Haley is our sister." My brother blurted out, "You're lying, that was clearly..." My father shot him a sharp glare, and he realized his mistake and shut his mouth. I put the DNA tests away. "It doesn't matter," I said coldly. "Illegitimate children can inherit shares too these days, right?" The moment I finished, my mother exploded. "Robert Walton, I'm warning you. Don't you forget how you got all this wealth. Without me, you'd just be some poor loser. And now you've gone and had a daughter this old behind my back." Cold sweat dripped down my father's forehead. The shareholders whispered among themselves. "What's going on? Is Haley the CEO's daughter or not?" Maybe she really is his secret love child. I can't believe it. He always seemed so whipped, but he was cheating this whole time. Hiding it for so many years, until the daughter is all grown up. Mrs. Walton is the real victim here. With every word they spoke, my mother's face grew paler. My father slammed his hand on the table and roared, "Enough! All of you shut up. This report has to be fake." He pointed a trembling finger at me. "Zoe, it was you. You must be behind this. You'll do anything for shares, won't you?" At this, Haley burst into tears, her voice choked with emotion. "Sister, I know you've always hated me for taking the happy life that was meant for you for 18 years. But none of this was my choice. I was adopted by Mom and Dad. Even if you blame me, you can't slander us like this and try to drive a wedge between Mom and Dad." Hearing her, my father seized on it like a lifeline. "I knew it. Zoe must have bribed the lab to sow discord in our family. I can't believe you'd resort to such dirty tricks for a little profit. You'd even frame your own parents. What won't you do in the future?" My brother quickly chimed in. "That's right. She must have bought off the lab. We'll redo the test immediately." The lab director stepped forward, his voice firm. "I stake my reputation on this. The testing procedure was fully compliant and absolutely without error. We are prepared to accept all legal responsibility." My father snorted. "Who knows if you were bribed by Zoe? We're using a different lab for a retest." I smiled and nodded. Of course. With several shareholders as witnesses, new samples were collected and sent to another top-tier testing facility. The results were delivered to the conference room shortly after. My father impatiently tore open the sealed envelope and pulled out the report with trembling hands. When he saw the black and white conclusion, all the strength seemed to drain from his body, and he collapsed into his chair. The results were identical to the first test. Haley was his biological daughter, but shared no blood relation with my mother. Instantly, the entire conference room fell deathly silent. I watched the whole farce with cold eyes and said slowly, "Maybe Dad knew about Haley's parentage all along, and was just hiding it from Mom all these years. If I hadn't accidentally uncovered it, Mom would still be in the dark." As if a switch was flipped, my mother whipped her head around, her bloodshot eyes fixed on my father. "Robert Walton, tell me, who is that slut?" My father stammered, unable to form a coherent sentence. My brother crouched in a corner, holding his head. Impossible, how could this be? How could Haley be Dad's illegitimate daughter? Haley's face was ashen. She clutched her chest, looking as if she would faint at any second. My mother was a woman of action. In less than a week, she had tracked down Haley's biological mother, who turned out to be my father's first love, just as expected. The woman, looking weary from her journey from the countryside, rushed to Haley. "My daughter. My real daughter. I lost you on a train right after you were born. I thought I'd never see you again." She turned on my father. "Robert Walton, how dare you steal my daughter?" My father looked helpless. "I adopted her from an orphanage. I had no idea she was our." He sighed heavily. The woman sneered. "To be honest, back then I wasn't even sure whose kid she was. But now I know. She's yours." My father gritted his teeth, fuming but unable to lash out. The woman took Haley's hand, but Haley cried and tried to hide behind my mother, who promptly slapped her to the ground. "You little tramp. You're a menace just like your mother. If I hadn't stumbled upon your real identity, I'd still be raising someone else's child." She furiously ripped the jewelry from Haley's body. "This all belongs to the Walton family. You don't deserve any of it. Now take your mother and get out." Seeing my father remain silent, my mother glared at him. "What is it, Robert? You want to get kicked out with your first love and your daughter?" My father dropped to his knees in front of my mother, pledging his loyalty. "Honey, I was wrong. I swear I didn't know she and I had a child. You and our family are all I care about. I'll kick her out right now and cut off all ties." Haley, slumped on the ground, grabbed my father's leg and begged, "Dad, please don't abandon me. I can't go back with her. I can't live in the countryside. Brandon, save me. Brother, please." My brother wanted to help, but one look at our mother's furious face and he didn't dare say a word. In the end, Haley was dragged away, kicking and screaming, by her biological mother. My brother suddenly shoved me, pointing at my nose. "Are you satisfied now, Zoe? This is all your fault." I looked at him, my eyes like ice. "Do you believe I can have you thrown out too?" My brother puffed out his chest defiantly. "On what grounds?" I'm still mom and dad's biological son. I scoffed, looking him up and down. A blind, clueless idiot like you thinks you can fight me? Say one more word, and I'll make sure you can't even step foot in this house again. My parents gave each other the silent treatment for a few days, but eventually reconciled for the sake of the family and their precious son. After this huge upheaval, my spoiled brother seemed to grow up overnight. He started working at the company, learning the business. When he saw me in the living room, he declared, "You just wait, Zoe. So what if you have 50% of the shares? I will crush you under my heel and bring Haley back in style." I looked at him like he was a clown. "You? Save it. The only way you two will be together is when you're both kicked to the curb." The Walton Company was still the Walton family's. What I wanted was a company that was entirely mine, Zoe's. I spoke again. "Don't worry. As long as the company doesn't go bankrupt, I'll hold on to this 50% tightly. And you? You'll be right where you belong, under my heel." My brother roared, "In your dreams, Zoe. The company will never go bankrupt, and I will get those shares back." But then a thought seemed to strike him, and he sneered. "You're just an illiterate hick. It wouldn't be surprising if the company did go bankrupt in your hands." I pouted dramatically. "Oh no, that can't happen. If the company goes bankrupt, I'll be left with nothing." My brother left, laughing maniacally. "Zoe, you'll be left with nothing very soon." The next day, my secretary came to me. "Ms. Walton, I've noticed your brother has been falsifying some data reports lately. But it's strange. The reports show the company is doing poorly, but our operations are perfectly fine." I instructed him, "Don't worry about it. Let him fake them. If he needs help, you can even give him a hand." The secretary was confused but nodded and did as he was told. A few days later, I came home to find them sitting in the living room, looking extremely anxious. When they saw me, my father slapped a stack of documents on the table. "Zoe, the company is in huge trouble. The cash flow is about to dry up. Only you can save us now. You need to temporarily transfer your shares back to me so I can use them for leverage. Otherwise, the Walton family is finished." My mother chimed in, her tone earnest. "Yes, the sudden shift in shares caused some problems for the company. Transfer them back to your father for now. Once everything is stable again, he'll divide them between you and your brother." She grabbed my hand, pleading, "Don't worry. I know now that you're my only real daughter. I'll never play favorites again." My brother shot me a glare. "Zoe, don't you get it? The company is in crisis because the shares are in your name. It's time for you to atone." When I didn't react, my father produced a meticulously prepared financial report. "You've been involved in the business now, so you can read this. Look, the company's crisis is unstoppable. If this continues, our family will truly be ruined." I didn't even bother looking closely. I knew it was a report their accountants had carefully cooked up, and I wouldn't spot the flaws anyway. I watched their performance, laughing coldly inside. "Really? Is the company really about to go bankrupt?" My father's face was a mask of anxiety. "Yes, my dear daughter. Why would I lie to you?" I took a deep breath and nodded. "All right. For the family, I'll hand them over." Their faces lit up with joy. My mother squeezed my hand, relieved. "I knew you were my good daughter." "Am I? Then you'd better watch closely and see just how good a daughter I can be." Not 2 days after the share transfer was completed, a massive hole suddenly appeared in the company's cash flow, far worse than what my father had described. He stormed in to confront me. "Zoe, what did you do? Why did the company's cash flow suddenly break?" I widened my eyes, the picture of innocence. "Dad, what are you talking about? Weren't you the one who said the company had cash flow problems? Besides, the shares are in your name now. You're in charge of operations. Why are you asking me when something goes wrong?" My father's mouth opened and closed, his face turning red with frustration. The company's situation deteriorated rapidly, and debts piled up like mountains. In just a few short days, the once glorious Walton Corp. was truly on the verge of bankruptcy. Even the family mansion was plastered with bank notices, slated for seizure to pay off debts. My brother pointed a finger at me and screamed, "Zoe, you're a jinx. Nothing good has happened since you came back. We gave you the shares, and things went wrong. Now even after you gave them back, it's too late. Great. Now we're all going to be thrown out on the street. Are you finally happy, Zoe?" I didn't answer him. I just nodded. Yes, I was quite happy. All the maids had long been dismissed. My family was glumly packing their belongings. I sat on the living room sofa, casually flipping through a magazine. My brother, dragging his suitcase, glared at me fiercely. Zoe, what are you still doing here? Waiting for the debt collectors to throw you out? I didn't look up. Why should I leave? This is my home. He laughed as if he'd heard the world's funniest joke. Still talking tough when you're about to be homeless. Let's see you keep that attitude when they drag you out of here. So now you decide this is your home? Where was that thought when you were scheming behind our backs? If it weren't for you, our family would be happy and whole. This is all because of you. You damn jinx. Seeing that I wasn't moving, my mother said impatiently, come on, let's go. Stop making a scene. I still didn't budge. My father grabbed me and tried to pull me up. Zoe, what are you trying to do? Your brother is right. Nothing but bad luck has followed you here. You may have no shame, but I do. When they throw us out, it's the Walton family name that will be disgraced. Just then, a well-dressed butler entered, followed by a line of staff, all moving in perfect sync. My family quickly backed away. Fine, forget her. Let her stay here and be humiliated. Someone like her deserves a good beating. But as the three of them reached the door, the butler led his staff straight to me and bowed in unison. Miss Walton, everything is ready. The three at the door stood there, mouths agape. My father, stunned and furious, demanded, what? What did you call her? The butler turned displeased. Mr. Walton, if I recall correctly, this property no longer has any connection to you. Please leave immediately. We are here to serve Miss Walton. Their eyes widened in shock. What did you say? You're here to serve her? My brother suddenly scoffed. Butler, I think you've got the wrong person. This is just my cheap sister, not the Miss Walton you're looking for. She has no shame just squatting here. If she's in your way, feel free to just toss her out. My father shot me a hateful look. She's a leech. Do whatever you want with her. The butler glanced at them, confused, then bowed respectfully to me again. Miss Walton, your instructions? I slowly stood up, my gaze sweeping over their shocked and terrified faces. Sorry, I forgot to inform you. The person who acquired all of the Walton family's debt and bought this house was me. Now I am the sole owner here. And your biggest creditor. As they stood there, stunned, I waved my hand and gave the order to the butler. Take these people and all their things and throw them out. After acquiring 50% of the company, I hadn't been idle. I used my position to network aggressively, expanding my connections and establishing my own company. Then, when the Walton family's crisis hit, I was the first to make a move. I acquired all of Walton Corp. As subsidiaries, including this mansion. As they were being thrown out, my brother screamed at me, Zoe, do you have any idea what you're doing? How could you be our biggest creditor? You already transferred the shares back. What power do you have? I bet you just hired a bunch of actors for this show. Was it really necessary? Hearing this, my parents seemed to snap back to reality. My father pointed at my nose and yelled, Zoe, what more do you want? We never should have brought you back. We should have just let you rot and die with that other family. The shouting only stopped when the butler signaled, and a few bodyguards pinned them to the ground. I looked down at them coldly. If you don't know when to quit, then don't blame me for being ruthless. With a simple nod from me, they were thrown out of the mansion gate, their cries of protest echoing behind them. A few days after being kicked out, they managed to find me outside my company building. The moment he saw me, my father confronted me. I knew it. I knew there was no way our family could have collapsed so fast. You were the mole all along. You orchestrated everything. If you return it all to me right now, I can let this go. You'll still be my daughter. I just laughed, completely ignoring his words. When threats failed, my mother grabbed my hand, her voice thick with tears. Daughter, we were wrong before. Mom and Dad were so wrong. We know that now. The Walton family can't be allowed to fall. Please let your brother manage the company. He's your own flesh and blood. We'll find you a good husband and send you off in a grand wedding. Let us come home. We can't stand living like this. We can be a family of 4 again, all together. He glanced at her coldly. I think it's more important for the 3 of you to be together. What's mine has nothing to do with you. My brother exploded. Zoe, you ungrateful snake. You come back and destroy our family. Even if Mom and Dad didn't raise you, they gave you life. How could you do this to us? If you don't give back the company and the inheritance, I will make you pay. I looked at him with amusement. Good. I'll be waiting. I'd love to see how you'll make me pay. When force failed, they resorted to pity. My mother clutched her chest and coughed. Zoe, to be honest with you, your father and I have both been diagnosed with cancer. We have no money now. Can you help us? If we don't get treatment, my only wish is to not see you and your brother fighting. Let him join the company. My father played along. Yes, the doctor said we don't have much time left. Our family was just reunited. We can't be torn apart by death so soon. I watched their pathetic performance, finding it utterly ridiculous. They just had to keep tempting fate. I gestured, and my bodyguards dragged them away. A week later, my brother, his eyes red, cornered me downstairs. He roared, Zoe, what the hell did you do? Mom and Dad were both really diagnosed with terminal stomach cancer. The doctors say they don't have long. I widened my eyes. But didn't they already have terminal cancer? My brother, speechless with rage, dragged me to the hospital. In just a few days, they had aged 10 years. My mother held my hand, tears streaming down her face. Zoe, I understand now. I've finally woken up. It was my favoritism all along that led to this. This is our punishment from heaven. But my last dying wish is for you to let your brother into the company. Only if you two work together can you restore the Walton family to its former glory. I patted their hands but didn't answer. Being reborn, I never had high hopes for my biological parents. After all, I know what family means. Family are the ones who are truly good to you. As for them, what good was a deathbed repentance? Even at the end, their first thought was still their son, not me. Leaving the hospital, my brother chased after me anxiously. Zoe, why are you still being so stubborn? This is Mom and Dad's dying wish. Aren't you going to honor it? They both said we should work together. I've thought it over too. I don't want to hold a grudge. Let's just pretend none of the past ever happened. Here, you give me the CEO position, and I'll teach you how to run things. You're from the countryside, how could you have pulled all this off? It was just dumb luck. But you need to understand, for a company to truly grow and succeed, it takes skill, not luck. Looking at his confident expression, I found it hilarious. I took a few steps back and looked at him. Who told you I was going to honor their dying wish? They never treated me like a daughter, so why should I respect their wishes? My brother stared at me in disbelief. They are your family. Aren't you afraid they won't be able to rest in peace? I shrugged, indifferent. What does their peace have to do with me? I'm still alive and well. I turned and walked away, leaving him stunned and speechless. A month later, my parents both passed away. I never heard any news about my brother again. Some time after that, I was out when a car suddenly accelerated, speeding directly toward me. In the nick of time, my pre-arranged bodyguards intercepted it with their own vehicle. Getting out of my car, I saw exactly who I expected to see inside the other vehicle. My brother and Haley. They had tried to take me down with them. Zoe, you stole everything from me. I'll kill you. My brother stumbled out of the car, wielding an iron pipe, blood dripping from his forehead. Beside him, Haley was unconscious in the passenger seat. The bodyguards quickly subdued my brother. Pinned to the ground, he glared at me with bloodshot eyes. Why? It should have all been mine. Why did you have to steal it? I stepped on his hand, grinding my heel into it. This was always supposed to be mine. I just took back what belonged to me. As for a loser like you, you can look forward to spending the next chapter of your life in a prison cell. Soon, the two were taken away by the police. After waking up, Haley claimed that my brother had coerced and threatened her, and that she never wanted to kill anyone. They turned on each other, fighting viciously in court. In the end, both were sentenced to 10 years in prison. I no longer had time to care about them. I boarded a plane, flying overseas to expand my company.